One of the most overutilized cues in the personal training industry is to set your shoulders down and back before the start of each exercise. You'll hear this with overhead press, with lateral raises, with push-ups, with seated rows. The cue is always to set the shoulders down and back, keep them there as you're going through these movements. Now there's something called your scapular rhythm, which is the relation between your humerus and your shoulder blade and how they should move together. You'll see on the skeleton here, Mr. Shreds. Now he doesn't have any muscles, he's really shredded. But normally on a human being, a lot of the musculature that surrounds this joint has relation to both the humerus and the shoulder. So if you just isolate one and lock this one down, well, this one moves, 90% of the time that's gonna cause some issues, unless you're doing something, say like a bench press or like a curl, something where you don't need movement. But overhead press, lateral raises, pull-ups, there's a variety of exercises where you do not want to cue a set scapula on because you are jamming up this joint and you're messing up that scapular rhythm. Now the scapula moves in 8 different ways. You have elevation, you have depression, protraction, retraction, downward rotation, upward rotation, and also posterior tilt and anterior tilt. Now as you're going through a rowing movement, if you just lock the scapula down to the spine here and keep it there isometrically, when you bring your humerus into extension behind you, you're not going to get that retraction you're looking for to target your traps, target your rhomboids that you're actually looking for in a horizontal row. So let me explain on myself here. As I go through this, if I just lock everything down and reach end range retraction and depression, as I go through this, most of the time you'll get anterior translation of the humerus, causing laxity in the front side of the shoulder, leading to front side shoulder pain. You're not really getting the benefit from the traps to actually go through that full retraction as you're going through that row because you're stuck in there isometrically. So a girl came in last week that was dealing with mid-back pain, upper back pain, all the way up to her neck. Her pain was so severe she had to stop training upper body completely. When we assessed the movement of her scapula, we found it was stuck in a little bit of downward rotation. Her rhomboids were constantly on fire from being cued to set her scapula during every exercise she does. Her nervous system got used to that position, and that became her normal resting position, messing up that scapular rhythm and that control when she goes through basic movements like push-ups, pull-ups, or rows. When we brought back some awareness, she had no pain at all because we taught her scapula to move with her shoulder. That length-tension relationship improved, and then she was able to move with that scapular rhythm we talked about before. So the takeaway from this is to really teach your joint this full range of motion. Show it which end range protraction is, end range retraction, elevation, depression. Let your shoulder blade move through a variety of planes. Stop having it stuck in one position unless you're doing stuff like bench press or other exercise where you're isolating single joints.